Freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you want to have a good time, just give me a call.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, each and every day here on the LRN.FM network from Phoenix, Arizona, the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. We got all kinds of goodies there. Let me tell you, I want to show you this. You go on Google Translate we got our revolutionary throwing the bouquet of flowers, not a firebomb, not a Molotov cocktail like they, generally depicted as doing, but throwing a bouquet of flowers with a slogan, "We know the truth." What's Google Translate do for me? It gives me the translated version into Arabic right there. Oh, see, we are getting the presses going. We're going to send this next week. We're already all over it. As before I even finish the show, we got the boys working on it. That's how we roll. And, what you may not know, Professor, is we're the ones that started the Ron Paul Love-olution. That logo, the Ron Paul Revolution, I'm the one that came up with that logo. And we start sending this kind of material that we had over the past few years to the English-speaking and people that can translate into Cairo. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to have us some fun. That's what's going to happen. And I'm so neat in understanding from what the perspective is of the educated, uneducated, the rank and file, the people in Cairo. They're sitting there looking at all of this and thinking what's really going on. What's their perspective?
In Egypt?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have quite a bunch of different perspectives. I mean, you have sort of communists and socialists and liberals and pan-Arabists and Islamists and, there's quite a wide range of thinking. I mean, one of the things that they all kind of come along and agree on is that they're tired of the Mubarak presidency, they're tired of corruption, and they're tired of the military generals ruling them. They want to rule themselves. And so, I think that what we as sort of Americans and what the United States government should be doing is amplifying the sort of clearly articulated voices that we've heard from the protesters. And, I'm really not afraid of Egyptian democracy. They're smart enough to handle it. They're, rational human beings. They can figure out their own problems. They don't need us standing over top of them.
They got a culture that's thousands of years old since pharaohs, man. I mean, they probably got a clue, so and even if they didn't, I don't care if they're from the jungle. They can make up their own mind without us. And I'll tell you this one thing. A lot of the YouTubes and Facebooks, and so we've been posting a lot of this stuff on our news site, and what it looks like is they're going, look, we just want the United States to go away. They don't want our interference. They don't want our involvement. Is that a common theme, you think?
Look, they have no problem with Americans. They just are tired of being a sort of vassal of the American empire and policy, the American empire's policy in the region. So, it's not anti-Americanism, like they hate us, but they would just rather be left alone.
I'm hip to that. Well, tell us about other countries. Let's get, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan, and the difference there is what?
The differences are quite wide. I mean, one is just demographics. Two or second level is just level of development. Obviously the United States has a very intimate relationship with Jordan and Egypt, and not so much Yemen. Jordan has signed a peace agreement with Israel, so that's an important factor. Yemen is a quite underdeveloped country. It has the highest birth rates in the world. The president there really hasn't built a lot of roads and things. So there's a lot going on there. And the Arab world, I mean, it's a fabulously diverse place. The 22 countries, many different religions, many different sort of points of view. And, I would just encourage everybody to go kind of explore it
Well, you make it kind of the point is that the more diverse you are, the less likely you are to homogenize anything. And freedom is the only common factor everybody can, relate to, is just to be left alone, to be whatever you are. And I'm going, the Western culture, oh, heck no. We need you to sign on to the IMF. We need you to get indebted. We need the economic hitman to come in and say, Mr. Leader Man that we put here, it's either your brains or your signature on this piece of paper, or we got a CIA operation coming in and change your regime that we just put in place. I mean, this happens over and over and over and over. And if that doesn't work, we got a battleship. So I'm going, at some point, these people have to see, certainly in the Middle East, as you have access to information via the internet, because it takes only a very, very short period of time. We saw it happen here in the United States in the 2008 election cycle, to where an entire generation began to understand that what they had been told in junior high and their social studies class, that's not what America really is. They figured it out. They go, oh, I get it. And it doesn't take very long. So tell me, what role the internet has played even on poor people. We're seeing they're using Twitter and Facebook, and they're coming out and sharing information instantaneously. And whatever goes viral and sparks has an enormous impact on millions of people. Has the internet played into what you think the future is?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it has played an important role, but Egypt has a quite low internet penetration rating. I mean, it's only about a quarter of the population is on the internet, and the organizers that I've talked to, and I've asked this question to numerous times of them, has always been the same. Look, we use the internet not to organize. We're not organizing politically on the internet. We're organizing politically the old-fashioned way. We're going door to door. We're handing out pamphlets. We're having conversations with groups that we don't agree with. We use the internet. We use Twitter. We use Facebook to amplify what we're saying, to publicize what we're doing, not to we're not relying on it to bring people into the square. And, in all honesty, I think there's been a lot of evidence that this is true, because remember,
they shut it down.
Shut it down, and it had no impact.
I think it amped it up even more.
Yeah, so it had no, so the internet is for publicity. It's not for organization. If you politically organize on the internet, you run the risk of, fragmenting.
Well, the one thing that we saw was a common theme, certainly with the media and other countries, and the rhetoric of the talking heads, was when they shut down the internet, they lost a lot of credibility. And certainly with the people around the world, because the first thing, the ability, even you have the talking heads, regardless of what they really wanted, you'd have them, you lost your credibility. Everybody's got to be able to express themselves, while they try and make permanent the Patriot Act and do all kinds of other surveillance and closed-circuit televisions every freaking where in this country. They're such hypocrites, but they'll come out and they'll say, hey, man, you got to let the people express themselves. It's easier to find them.
Right.
So that's another aspect of this. Is there going to be repercussions, kind of like China had with Tiananmen Square?
Well, we're going to find out. I think the jury's still out. The military generals that are currently governing that country, have been incredibly ruthless against journalists, and particularly, the foreign journalists have been really good about publicizing this. And the way that I explain this to my my classes, when they asked me about what I thought about what was going on to the journalists, I respect Anderson Cooper. I think he does a good job, and I'm sorry that he got smacked around a little bit the other day on the streets of Cairo.
Yeah, but he's lucky.
But yeah, you should see what they're doing to the Egyptian journalists. I've just got a confirmed report that the first Egyptian journalist has died, shot in the head. So we have to be very sort of steadfast in sort of stopping and condemning sort of all attacks on journalists. And this is why I really wish that the White House and the administration would speak up a little louder.
Well, are we going to have a Tiananmen moment?
No, we're not.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. And I'll give you the reason why. Because right now...
we got to wait till after the break. The reason why we're not going to have a Tiananmen Square moment with the tanks rolling in, and this time they stand in front of the tank, they just might get run over like the police van go plowing through people. So we'll find out from Professor Joshua Stacher from Kent State University, Middle East Studies. We'll find out why there's not going to be a Tiananmen moment when we come back in just a little bit.